The forest floor was a tapestry of decay and life, damp earth clinging to the air after a morning rain. Alara, new to this form, new to the world, was driven by a hunger that logic could not temper. It was a radiant fungus that caught her eye, a cluster of sunblush mushrooms pulsing with a soft, inner light. She knew nothing of them, only that their beauty was a siren's call to her nascent senses. The moment she consumed one, a fire ignited within her veins, a disorienting heat that scrambled her thoughts into a panicked slurry. This couldn't be the end. She had just begun to feel the sun on her skin, to taste the morning dew. A whimper escaped her lips as she writhed on a bed of moss, a desperate sound swallowed by the vast silence of the ancient woods. It was then that a shadow fell over her. A figure stood there, impeccably dressed in a way that defied the wilderness around him. He asked if she needed assistance, his voice a low, smooth melody. Her gaze lifted, locking with a pair of eyes that shifted from a startling crimson to the deepest ink in a heartbeat. The heat was unbearable. She mumbled something about the awful, burning feeling. He extended a hand, the fingers long and pale. Without hesitation, she seized it. An immediate, shocking coolness flooded her system, a blessed relief from the internal inferno. Instinct took over. She scrambled closer, wrapping her limbs around him like ivy on an old stone wall, pressing her feverish skin against the cool fabric of his suit. His body was a sanctuary of comfort. She murmured about his pleasant temperature, but complained that his clothes were an irritating barrier. She wondered aloud why he was so quiet and what the hard rectangle in his pocket was. It was digging uncomfortably into her hip. As she shifted to adjust, his entire body went rigid. He placed a hand firmly on her, his voice strained, husky with some powerful, restrained emotion, as he warned her not to move. She obeyed, nestling against him. The brief respite faded, and the agonizing heat returned, stronger this time, demanding more. A flicker of movement at the edge of the clearing drew her eye. Several figures in dark, severe attire were approaching, their faces etched with concern as they called out to a boss. A primal instinct for self-preservation surged. Alara, drawing on a power she didn't know she possessed, wove the forest around them. Vines coiled, shadows deepened, and in the confusion, she pulled the silent, cool man away, deeper into the woods. She recognized the insignia on their collars. They were demons, creatures of brutal legend. But the man she had stolen, despite his terse demeanor, was a useful, living antidote. She led him to the grotto behind a waterfall that had become her home. She told him he had to help, that he had offered first, so she wasn't going to be polite about it. He gave a quiet, resigned sound of assent. That was all the encouragement she needed. She began unbuttoning his shirt, her fingers clumsy but determined. The direct contact of her skin against his was bliss, a wave of cool that soothed the very core of her being. It was then she noticed them, faint iridescent scales shimmering on his back and a long dark tail that moved with a life of its own. Just then, a chorus of unfamiliar thoughts brushed against her consciousness. They were not her own. One voice wondered what was happening to their leader, commenting on his look of serene enjoyment. Another marveled that he was being overpowered by a simple nature spirit, not using a fraction of his true strength. A third voice, full of knowing confidence, dismissed the others, explaining that this was all part of the boss's elaborate plan to win over his mate. The thoughts continued, noting his clothes being removed, the flush on his cheeks, the physical evidence of his arousal. The entity they called the boss was revealing his true form. There was no one else in the grotto. The voices belonged to the men from the clearing. The beautiful, harmless-looking man in her arms was Caspian, the one whose name was whispered in terror across the 4 realms. She had heard the stories, broadcast through the rustling leaves and whistling winds of her forest home before she'd even taken shape. Caspian, the great demon lord, has claimed another city. Caspian has slain his own father. Caspian will conquer the world. But the man before her felt nothing like those legends. He was cool and comforting, and his scent was an intoxicating mix of ozone and night-blooming flowers. All she wanted was to be closer. The legends could wait. She had him now, and she would use him. She didn't know how it ended. She simply drifted off, a hazy, satisfied sleep descending upon her in Caspian's arms. The telepathic chatter of his retinue faded away. In her dreams, she felt something strong and smooth coiling around her body, and a slick, cool sensation tracing patterns across her face. In the dim light of the cave, the man, his demonic form more pronounced, savored his prize. Hours later, he finally released the small spirit, her skin covered in a roadmap of red marks, looking thoroughly overwhelmed. A low chuckle escaped him. He mused that since she had delivered herself to him, she shouldn't think of escaping. The next morning, Alara awoke to find herself encircled by coils of a massive, black serpentine tail. A gasp caught in her throat. The Demon King's true form was a serpent. No wonder he was so fearsome. With the utmost care, she slid out from his heavy embrace. Use him and lose him. Escape was a skill she had perfected long ago. As a fledgling spirit, she was often prey for more powerful creatures. Hiding was survival. It pained her to abandon the grotto she'd found, but safety was paramount. She needed a new, secret place. Just as she reached the edge of the forest where it met a dusty highway, a sleek black car pulled over. The window rolled down to reveal the man she had just abandoned, now dressed in a soft, rose-colored shirt that made his handsome features seem almost delicate. The pristine white clothes from the day before were clearly ruined. He gave her a lazy, knowing smile. He remarked on how fast the little liar could run. Then, his expression shifted, the corner of his mouth turning down in a theatrical pout. He asked why she would abandon him, calling her an irresponsible little spirit. He threatened to report her to the Bureau of Supernatural Affairs, whose agents were known for their cruelty. A spirit like her would be lucky to keep her core intact. She shook her head frantically, denying everything. She spontaneously sprouted a small, perfect azure flower from her palm, offering it to him as a peace treaty. She pleaded with him, saying a great demon like him shouldn't concern himself with a tiny, insignificant plant spirit like her. The blue blossom rested in his large palm, emitting a faint, sweet fragrance. He closed his hand, crushing it. He told her that wouldn't be enough unless she agreed to something else. Before she could ask what, he told her to come with him. Caspian took her to a bustling human city. She watched him, amazed. Dressed as he was, acting the part of a charming, wealthy young man, no one would ever suspect he was the bloodthirsty ruler of the demon realm. As they walked down a crowded street, the disembodied voices returned. His followers, now dressed in casual human clothes, trailed them from a distance. One thought how their boss had never looked so happy, smitten over a simple wildflower. Another understood that the boss was clearly in love, otherwise he wouldn't be chasing her like this. A third commented on the boss's stamina the previous night and wondered if they would soon have a little demon prince or princess to serve. Alara glanced back, confused. The men weren't speaking, yet she heard them. Caspian noticed her distraction and stopped, asking what was wrong. She just shook her head. He led her into an art house cinema, where they watched a film full of embraces and passionate kisses. Later, on a tablet, he showed her more images, explaining the human rituals of courtship and marriage, and how what they had done in the grotto was something reserved for couples who were deeply in love. He pointed out that she had seemed to enjoy it, clinging to him and refusing to let go. Her voice became a whisper as she argued, her confidence draining away. It had been their first meeting. Caspian snapped a stylish fan he was holding shut, tapping her lightly on the head. He stated that she therefore had to take responsibility. She had to marry him. All the proper steps must be followed, or he would report her for abandonment. She protested that she was just a plant spirit. She didn't understand these things. Caspian feigned a sulk, calling her a dim-witted little sprout. She bristled at the nickname, insisting she was a dryad, that her kind bloomed with beautiful flowers, and that she had been the first in her grove to achieve a physical form. He smiled, explaining that since she wouldn't tell him her name, and she didn't like Sprout, he would call her Ellie, his special, personal nickname. She quietly told him her name was Alara. At that moment, the voices of his followers chimed in again from across the street. They marveled at this new side of their boss, who had once been an unblinking killer with the blood of thousands on his hands. They whispered that he was so cunning. His benevolent act was almost convincing. Their thoughts were a stark reminder. She had been seduced by Caspian's charm, but the legends were true. He was a ruthless monster who could end her life in an instant. She decided it was safest to simply comply with his wishes. For days, she was his constant companion. He was surprisingly attentive during the day, yet possessive at night. He would hold her, murmuring that this was right, that she wouldn't deny him. A weak spirit could not resist. After several days of this intoxicating, terrifying haze, she awoke to find him gone. A note was left on the nightstand. It read that he had urgent business and would be gone a few days. He had arranged for his men to watch over her. She could go anywhere and have anything she wanted. But if she tried to run, he would find her and there would be consequences. In truth, Caspian had been good to her. He bought her the most delicious pastries from a local bakery, took her to vibrant concerts, and filled her closet with beautiful clothes. He would often ask if he was good to her, and when she hesitantly agreed, a look of profound satisfaction would cross his face. He would bury his head in her neck, nuzzling her like a contented cat, whispering that he knew she loved him best, that he would give her the world. He was like a puppy, desperate for praise. Her heart would soften completely in those moments. After Caspian left, his men followed her at a discreet distance. Whatever she wanted, they provided. She could still hear their thoughts. They were under strict orders to protect the future queen and the potential heir. They thought she was adorable and understood why their boss was so completely taken with her. They reasoned that the boss's business was likely bloody and violent, not something to expose a pure-hearted spirit to. They were surprisingly entertaining companions, even performing demonic juggling tricks to amuse her when she seemed bored. The change was sudden. One moment they were laughing, asking if she was enjoying the show. The next, they collapsed, falling to the ground without a sound. A woman cloaked in shadow vaulted into the room. She sneered, wondering what kind of lowly spirit had dared to seduce the Demon King. Alara stared at her, asking who she was. The woman's eyes were full of venom. She declared herself Caspian's intended bride, the true future queen. A whip of pure shadow lashed out, its barbs tearing through Alara's skin, exposing bone. The pain was blinding. With her current power, she was no match for this demoness. She took several lashes, her body a canvas of agony, before collapsing. She drifted in and out of consciousness, the pain a constant, roaring tide. The woman, Lilith, loomed over her, a small, sharp knife in her hand. She mused that it was Alara's face that had enchanted him. If she destroyed it, the Demon King would be hers again. Alara didn't want to die. She had worked for so long to achieve this form. She had promised Caspian, in a way, that she would wait for him. A strange power began to surge within her, an ancient force breaking through the confines of her simple spirit form. She looked down at her hands as a flood of memories that were not her own washed over her. A moment later, the courtyard fell silent. When Caspian returned, he found only his men, unconscious on the ground, and Lilith, broken and bleeding. Alara was gone. In her place, a single tiny, wilted wildflower lay on the stone floor. It looked just as fragile as when he had first seen her in the forest. His hands trembled as he knelt to pick it up, his eyes turning a dangerous shade of red. He whispered her name, asking why she had left when she had promised to wait. He carefully placed the flower inside his coat, against his chest. A tear traced a path down his cheek. He cursed himself for not protecting her, begging the memory of her to blame him, to hate him. His men began to stir. Seeing the scene, they fell to their knees, begging for mercy. Caspian's gaze was glacial. They were unharmed, yet Alara had been reverted to her primal form, her spirit nearly extinguished. With immense effort, he contained his rage. His voice was the sound of grinding stone as he ordered them back to the realm to receive their punishment. He then issued a decree. Lilith's clan was to be banished from the demon lands forever. To set foot there again meant death. Caspian had been summoned by the demon elders. An ancient evil, long sealed away, was stirring. They also wished to discuss the arrangements for his marriage to his chosen queen. He had planned the grandest ceremony in demon history, following the highest rites. He had arranged everything, waiting only for Alara's consent. But he had been too late. Soaring through the sky on a blade of pure light, Alara approached the Celestine Citadel. The disciples training below recognized her immediately. It was their first disciple returned from the dead. Messengers flew to alert the elders. 3 of them, Alistair, Phineas, and Valerius, rushed out to meet her. Alistair's face was a mask of joyous surprise. He called her name. She gave a cool, simple affirmation. He moved to embrace her, but she stepped back, avoiding his touch. A strange look flashed in his eyes before he sighed, lowering his hands. He asked if her powers had returned, if she was injured, why she had not returned sooner. She had no desire to answer. A millennium ago, the great entity known as the Unraveler had threatened the world. The Citadel, with its 3 greatest masters, had managed to seal it away. A century ago, the seal weakened. The masters were long dead, and she, their most powerful disciple, had been the only one strong enough to reinforce it. She had sacrificed herself, her soul shattering, a single fragment taking root in a wildflower. The near-death encounter with the demoness had shattered the final veil, restoring her memories of the sacrifice and of the truth behind it. After a brief, formal greeting with the elders, she returned to her old residence, the Lunar Pavilion. It was almost unchanged, clearly tended to with great care. The peach trees in the garden were heavy with fruit, and the koi in the pond were fat and slow. Her new form still carried the habits of a plant spirit. She grew drowsy as night fell. Later, as she lay in bed, a dark figure slipped into the room, a sword aimed at her heart. The attacks were precise, aimed at vital points, but they lacked killing intent. She understood immediately. This was a test of her abilities. She deliberately created an opening, fumbling a parry. The assassin hesitated, but it was too late to pull back. The blade slid into her chest. Seeing the result, the figure leaped from the window and vanished. Only then did Elder Alistair arrive, feigning shock and outrage, claiming he had sent disciples in pursuit of the villain. Looking at his concerned face, Alara gave a short, sharp laugh. She assured him she was fine. It was clear he was testing her, both overtly and covertly, and the assassin was his own agent. To avoid further provocations, she announced she was entering seclusion to heal from the grievous wound. Her power was indeed a shadow of its former self. This body was not her original one, and it struggled to contain her spirit. 2 months into her Madion in the rear mountains, Alistair came rushing to her, calling for her to come out. The demons were attacking. Their forces were vast, and they came with intent to conquer. He told Alara that the citadel had fallen into decline. With her return, she was their only hope. The other elders were too old, the disciples too green. He looked down, stroking his white beard with a hand that trembled slightly. He was asking her to lead the defense. She glanced at him, at his familiar, false sincerity, and the identical, cheap manipulations. At the foot of the mountain, she saw the demonic army. At their head was Caspian. Many disciples were already wounded. She knew Caspian's power. No one in the citadel could stand against him. If he truly wished it, the citadel would fall today. But the moment he saw her, Caspian, who had been an avatar of arrogant power seconds before, simply stared. His shock quickly melted into overwhelming joy. He breathed her name, Ellie, saying he knew she wasn't dead. Her expression remained cold. She informed him he was mistaken. The smile vanished from his face. He insisted he would never be mistaken. She was his Ellie. He began to apologize, explaining he never knew Lilith would attack, that he had left his best men to protect her. She noticed that the men now flanking him were not the ones she had known, the ones whose thoughts she had heard. A surge of anger rose in her. She demanded to know if he had killed them, calling him the cold-blooded monster everyone said he was. She remembered their simple minds and innocent chatter. They had not been evil. Caspian looked stunned for a moment. Then his eyes reddened as he explained they were not dead, merely being punished for their failure to protect her. Relieved, she turned to leave. He grabbed her sleeve, his voice strained, asking what he should call her now. Ellie? The first disciple of the citadel? Or Alara? His Alara. She drew her sword of light, its point resting on his chest. She told him they were from different worlds. He was a demon who walked a dark path. She was a guardian of the light. Her future partner would be from a righteous order. Caspian just looked at her, his sorrowful gaze like a brand on her heart. When she was a simple spirit, he had been nothing but good to her. He had indulged her every whim. His affection had been genuine. She could feel it. The demon army retreated, a major battle averted without a single clash. Alistair followed her, his expression unreadable. He asked how she knew the Demon King. She gave a terse reply that she had met him when she first took form. He pressed further, but she cut him off, telling him that their relationship was none of his concern. He fell silent. Based on the demon's show of force, if not for her history with Caspian, she would have died on his blade. And the elders, who claimed to be her support, had stood far behind her, ready to flee at the first sign of trouble. She turned to Alistair, her voice laced with ice. She told him that she would not fall for the same trick a third time, and that she hoped he understood. She knew exactly what he had done and what he was thinking. With that, she vanished, returning to the mountains to continue her training. That night, a small creature slithered into her Madion cave. It was a snake, but its scales were a shimmering, iridescent pink, unlike Caspian's dark form. It was adorable, curling up in the sleeve of her robe to sleep. It would bask in the sun while she practiced her forms, and when she moved to leave, it would race after her, rubbing its head against her hand. She found herself growing fond of it, and took it back to her pavilion. That night she dreamed. She was a nameless spirit again, and Caspian was there, a brilliant smile on his face, presenting her with a bottle of rare elven wine. Her tolerance for alcohol was low, but she loved to taste new things. They sat on a rooftop, drinking and watching the stars, she doing most of the talking while he listened. In those moments, drunk on wine and starlight, she had been truly carefree. The scene shifted. They were in a soft-lit room, tangled together. She heard his voice, thick with emotion, telling her how much he loved her, asking her to stay with him forever. A sliver of a bare leg, toes curled tightly, was visible from beneath a sheet. It was hers. The sight made her cheeks burn, even in the dream. The dream shifted again. They were walking, his hand in hers, his followers trailing behind. Their thoughts a happy chorus about how perfect their king and future queen were together, how their boss hadn't stopped smiling since he met her. Caspian's answering smile in the dream was so genuine, so full of love, that she let herself sink into the memory, reliving every joyful moment. When she awoke, the little pink snake was still sleeping beside her. She stroked its head. If only Caspian weren't a demon. If only she weren't the Citadel's first disciple, just a free, simple dryad in the mountains. From a young age, her master had taught her that her purpose was to protect the world. She carried that weight on her shoulders, never straying from the path, never considering personal attachments. Even after Alistair's betrayal during the sealing, which had cost her her life, she had not sought revenge. The Citadel was weak, and the demon realms were a constant threat. Another internal conflict would doom them. Alistair's hatred stemmed from his daughter, who had once been infatuated with Alara. She had rejected the girl's advances, explaining her vow of emotional detachment. The girl, in a desperate attempt to prove herself worthy, had pushed her training too far, fallen to her own power, and died. Alistair had blamed Alara ever since. A few days later, the pink snake was gone. The dreams stopped. An unexpected emptiness settled in her chest. She could feel her own heart beating, faster whenever a certain name crossed her mind. She told it to be quiet, threatening to cut it out, but it paid no heed. She sighed and let it be. On her way to the mountains one day, her vision suddenly went black, and she collapsed. She awoke in darkness. The air was cool and damp. It took only a few seconds to recognize the grotto. Caspian was sitting nearby, watching her. He asked if she was awake. She tried to stand, her limbs feeling weak and heavy, and demanded to know what he wanted. He had bypassed the Citadel's formidable defenses to abduct her. His power was far greater than she had realized. He walked towards her, and with a subtle gesture she didn't see, a wave of weakness washed over her, and she fell into his arms. A sliver of light from an opening above illuminated his face. His expression was a mixture of pain and longing. His hands held her steady. He asked her, his voice low, if she had ever, even for a moment, felt anything for him. She answered with a cold no, stating that their paths were destined to diverge. He accused her of lying, of being cruel. He asked what their days together had meant to her. She claimed to have forgotten. He retorted that she was a liar. He had been in her dreams. She had enjoyed them. The pink snake. It had been him. He had entered her mind. While she was stunned by the revelation, he pressed his lips to hers. For a moment, she forgot to resist. The battle was over before it began. When he pulled away, their breathing was ragged in the enclosed space. He told her to admit it, that she had feelings for him. He said that whether she was Alara or Ellie, he would never give up. He could take her once, he could take her again. She couldn't beat him. He gave her a choice. Willingly admit she loved him, or he would knock her out, take her back to his realm and wait until she did. She glared at him, asking if he dared. He just smirked. He dared. The next day, Caspian took her to his home, the capital of the demon realm. He walked with her through the main thoroughfare, unashamed, holding her hand. He reminded her of her promise to marry him. He said if she went through with it, he would let her go, he wouldn't force her anymore. The entire city was decorated in crimson and gold, a massive festival in progress. Without thinking, she agreed. The wedding was set for 3 days' time. Every demon they passed greeted her with warmth and respect, congratulating the future queen. Swept up in the atmosphere, she found herself reverting to the form she'd worn as a young spirit. She had realized during her seclusion that her powers had plateaued. She could never reach her former heights. A wild thought entered her mind. Her vow of emotional detachment had been broken. She had truly fallen for Caspian. The realization was not a burden, but a relief. A weight she hadn't known she was carrying had been lifted. Watching the handsome demon king beside her, carefully peeling a lychee for her, she spoke softly. She told him that if she said she thought she might be starting to fall for him, a little, would he believe her? Caspian didn't seem surprised. He just glanced at her, popping the peeled fruit into her mouth. He said of course he believed her. He was handsome, powerful, and charming. Was it so strange to fall in love with him? He continued peeling, telling her to open her mouth, that the next one was even sweeter. It was. She had long known how shameless he could be. The day before the wedding, a message arrived from one of her fellow disciples. The unraveler was stirring again, the seal about to break. It had been secretly released by the demon elders, who hoped to harness its power. She stared at Caspian, then slapped him hard across the face. She demanded to know why they would release it after she had sacrificed so much to seal it. Caspian looked genuinely hurt. The demon king, was being berated. He mumbled that it wasn't his idea, that some of the old, stubborn elders believed a secret ritual would allow them to absorb the entity's power. She told him to explain later. They rushed back to the citadel. They arrived to find the disciples in battle formation. Alistair stepped forward, pointing an accusing finger. He bellowed that Alara was in league with demons, that he knew something was wrong with her since she returned. He accused her of conspiring with the Demon King to release the Unraveler and demanded to know her crimes. She looked at the pathetic, posturing man, too weary to engage. The seal was the priority, but Alistair persisted, drawing his sword. He declared he was purging a great evil from the world for the good of all. A younger disciple stepped forward, defending her. He said he believed in the first disciple, that she had already given her life once to stop the entity. He spoke of her kindness and integrity. One by one, other disciples who had trained under her voiced their support, leaving Alistair standing alone against her. Caspian looked at Alistair with profound annoyance. He scoffed, asking what was so wrong with her being with him. A massive, black serpent tail materialized from the shadows, coiling around the elder and lifting him into the air. Caspian grabbed him by the throat, remarking that he had disliked him from the start. A second later, Alistair went limp. With him dealt with, the Unraveler remained. But Alara's power was diminished. Fighting it would be suicide. As the remaining elders discussed their options, Caspian stepped forward. He would go. He had promised to protect her for a lifetime. He added with a grin that if the Unraveler turned out to be more handsome than him, she might fall for it instead. He told his Ellie to wait for him. The Unraveler was sealed in the Abyssal Vault, a prison forged by the combined power of all the great orders. It was now pulsing, the doors about to burst. But Alara had made a pact with Caspian to travel the world together. What if, like her, he didn't come back? Just before he entered the vault, Caspian pulled her into a hug. He whispered that if he made it back alive, the wedding was still on, and she couldn't back out of their 3-day celebration. Before he could finish, the vault exploded. A cloud of black mist shot out, forming into a massive, leering skull. A voice echoed, delighting in its return to the world. Caspian engaged it immediately. Alara called for the others to lend him their power. This time he was not alone. In the heat of the battle, Caspian convulsed, his body swallowed by the black mist. At the same time, the Unraveler vanished. A mutual destruction. Alara screamed his name. The battlefield fell silent. There was no response. Some of the elders cheered. The Unraveler and the Demon King were gone. A double victory. But Caspian did not return. Alara waited, her heart a frozen stone in her chest. Then, a soft chime sounded in her ear. She looked up. Caspian stood before her, covered in dust but grinning triumphantly. He asked who she thought he was. He was the great Demon King Caspian. A minor entity couldn't kill him. He had consumed it, absorbing its power. She stared at him. If he had been born a century earlier, she wouldn't have had to die in the first place. He apologized, admitting he had embellished the danger to make her love him more. After all, wasn't the man who defeated the Unraveler incredibly attractive? She sighed. He was alive. That was all that mattered. With the threat gone, they returned to the demon realm. She was no longer the first disciple, burdened by duty. She was just Alara, an ordinary yet extraordinary dryad. She had to start her training anew from the beginning. As she pondered this, Caspian sidled up to her, a secretive smile on his face. He told her he knew of a very efficient training method. He asked if she wanted to try. She asked what it was. He said 2 words, dual cultivation,